Linda!
Who are you? Oh, did my nightmare come true? Are you to terminate me?
No. Linda Kalb. I have to tell you about the future. This is 1984, right?
Yeah, it's 1984. Oh man, ever since I read 1984 in high school, I have been fearing this year and everything in it that's implied coming to pass. Even our movies show us moving toward a more dystopian world where our personal choice means nothing. Like Nightmare on Elm Street, where our dreams can be invaded by Freddy Krueger who wants to kill us with his razor-sharp claws. Or Terminator, where the robots take over. And even if you're born before the robots take over, you're not safe because they can come back in time and kill you. And they look human. My mom says things were better when she was young, not like this.
I'm sure a lot of angry old probably parents say that. But seriously, Linda, are you afraid of forgetting the past? Being haunted by our own thoughts while our own nation's history gets erased from existence? I also fear that. Everybody fears that.
Yeah, we get very worried about our nation. I mean, Ronald Reagan was just reelected. So if you're from the future, how did you get beyond 1984? How did you make it in 1985? How far in the future are you from?
1991.
1991. Who's president in 1991?
Bill Clinton. He is a Democrat of whom you haven't heard yet.
And,
He's the governor. Right now, he's the governor of Arkansas.
Arkansas. Nice human hands. Why don't you come in and tell me more about the future?
Sure. Sounds like a good plan, Linda. Thank you for letting inside.
Oh, so tell me, Mr.
Clark Nash. I've traveled back in time 7 years to the day from November 12th, 1981, and I can verify that we have no World War III or authoritarian Big Brother is watching you take over in 1991.
Oh, so good to hear. Thank you.
You may like how things turn around for Sarah Connor in the next Terminator movie or The Final Nightmare from 1991, but I'm here to tell you about a lighter movie with time travel from 1985 titled Back to the Future, which is in production right now as we speak.
Oh, wow. I love time travel.
It'll be the highest grossing film of all year in 1985, but you never watched it with any of your friends.
Well, how would you know? And why do you think I would like it where my friends might not? Can I get some tea?
Sure.
I'm listening.
I think you would like Back to the Future because it has a terrific story about a kid who goes back in time from the 1980s to the 1950s and tries to give his parents a better life once he befriends them in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I think viewers of all present and future generations can relate to a story where they learn how different life was for their parents and grandparents growing up in the Great Depression, like in Palmerstown, USA.
Oh. You know, you reminded me of a TV show I watched about the conservative kids in the 1980s who have these liberal parents who grew up in the 1960s. Family Ties. Have you heard of it in 1991?
Family Ties? Michael J. Fox from Palmerstown, USA and Family Ties became the leading man in Back to the Future. Of course I've heard of Family Ties in 1981. Back to the Future also stars Christopher Lloyd from Taxi, Mark McClure from the Superman film trilogy, Wendy Jo Sperber from Bosom Buddies and Private Benjamin, George DeCenzo from McLean's Law, and Francis Lee McCain from Apple's Way.
Wow, all those TV actors and Jimmy Olsen in the one movie on the big screen. What are the odds? Oh, hey, did they not have the budget for A-list film stars?
Maybe Back to the Future did have a low budget, but this could also be a test to see how well the story stands on its own when they sell tickets, not based on the most popular movie stars of the time, but the combined viewership of all those TV shows I just mentioned. That's how they can reel in, like, a TV audience that's, have a movie audience that's the same as a TV audience. Want to see the same actors on screen.
So no Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise, no Meg Tilly or Jennifer Tilly, no Harrison Ford or Sigourney Weaver. None of those stars.
Right, none of them. Because Back to the Future is not your romantic comedy with Woody Allen and Diane Keaton, or your action comedy with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. It is your sci-fi comedy with Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, and Leah Thompson.
Oh, Leah Thompson. Oh, I love Leah Thompson. She was so good in All the Right Moves and Red Dawn. I mean, Tom Cruise, I think she's not as big as Tom Cruise, but she was a really good leading lady with him. And I think she'd do a good job in this movie, too.
She certainly is. She certainly is a good female lead in Back to the Future.
Good. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Back to the Future really has brought us a long way from the old days of traditional Hollywood movie stars in 1955 like Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. It demonstrates that in 1985, by dissolving the border between movie actors and TV actors, and demonstrating how the same actors can play major parts in both mediums or both media if they've already made that longer time commitment for a TV series, and showcasing how the same audiences who liked watching comedic actors on the small screen may like to watch them again on the big screen with better cameras.
Oh, I know how that feels. When I watched The Rescuers, my parents recognized the voices of Eva Gabor and Pat Buttram from Green Acres, and Miss Bianca was a familiar voice from one of my favorite childhood sitcoms, Lisa Douglas. And my mother grew up with 1940s movies with Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz, and was a little surprised to see them in a 1950s TV sitcom. But, you know, they were really good at physical comedy and both types of screen acting.
I know, Eva Gabor is a very beautiful singer and actress, but I actually have a more important reason to come back here to warn you about the future.
Oh no! Do I need to do something before we see Back to the Future? Do we need to save the world? Do we need to save the future?
We don't need to save the world, but we do need to save the future. Linda, listen. 4 days from now, on the premiere day of A Nightmare on Elm Street, the film reel at your local movie theater that was showing that movie malfunctioned and caught on fire. You learned so much about film reels and television machine maintenance in school. You felt very guilty about not being there to put out the fire yourself. So, most of them got out alive, but the real nightmare is that you were too afraid to go to the movie theaters again after a quarter of the people in that theater were burned alive like Freddy Krueger.
Burned alive? Oh no! We must do something. How do we get in there?
I have some emergency 1984 money that can buy movie theater uniforms for us. Then we can go undercover and as movie theater employees, and you can do your stuff to fix the film reel before it catches on fire.
I am in. Oh yeah.
And if all else fails, I'll try to sneak in a fire extinguisher that can put out fires caused by film reel projectors.
Oh good. Yeah, we gotta keep those poor people from becoming like Freddy Krueger. Oh my gosh. And then once we do that, you can go back to the future, and I'll see you in 7 years, or at least I'll see the movies in 7 years, and I'll find out if Sarah Connor and her son John Connor can stop Skynet in Terminator 2, or 3, or however many movies they have by then.
Okay. Well, you also look forward to seeing how A Nightmare on Elm Street's future lineup of sequels ends with the final nightmare in the same year.
Oh, absolutely. And once we finish this mission, I'll see you in 7 years on whatever the date that those two movies are premiering, even if it's before you come back to see me on November 12th.
Thanks, Julie. You're such a good friend.
Oh, thank you, Clark, for coming back in time to see me.
I look forward or backward to seeing you again on whichever dates those movies premiere in 1991. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and the last Nightmare on Elm Street movie, Final Nightmare.
It's a date.
Sixth and final nightmare.
Wow. Fine. Okay. Clark, is that you? Is it really you? It's Linda from the 1980s. I haven't seen you since we went on that mission to stop the theater fire in 1984. Oh, I'm so glad that was successful. Oh, but Clark, you were so right. The world's gotten better since it survived 1984, and it's only gotten better since then, right? Like the Berlin Wall came down, and the Cold War is ending, and the Soviet Union crumbling, and the Iron Curtain coming down. Yeah, I think the world's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Linda, I'm happy to see you again too.
Good.
Did you like it when you were back to the future 6 years ago?
Oh yes, very much. It really gave me new perspective on my own parents because I never thought about what it was like for them when they were young in the 1950s. And I really liked how Marty helped improve his parents' lives, and then he helped improve his own life and correct his own flaws in the sequels. Oh, and speaking of sequels, Howard, Sarah Connor, and John Connor are going to outwit the next wave of robots that come back to try to kill them. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, right? And is this going to go on for all their lives? The robots coming back in time to kill them again and again? And when will it be Terminator 3? And what about the final nightmare? The final Nightmare on Elm Street movie? How are they going to end Freddy Krueger?
You ask a lot of fascinating questions about the future of filmmaking, but I think we worry enough about the future for 1 year. Right now, we should just focus on living in the present moment. And right now, we should just live in the present moment and focus on the movie we're going to watch today.
Oh yes, I've heard such good things about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Really looking forward to it. Oh, say, have you traveled forward in time to 2015 to see if any of those wacky predictions in Back to the Future 2 came true?
No, it was a tempting thought and an entertaining idea, but sadly, I did not peek into 2015 to see what Back to the Future Part 2's predictions got right, wrong, or left.
That's okay. I would say, why did you tell me that Bill Clinton was the president in 1991? George Herbert Walker Bush is the president now.
Because I traveled forward in time 1 year by mistake, and I wanted to see who would win the 1992 election while I was there. Just be glad that Bill Clinton will be the president in 1.5 years from now. And you should also be glad that we do not live in the horrific timeline where Richard Nixon is still the president.
Oh yeah, that would be so horrible. Oh my gosh, the Vietnam War took up most of my childhood. It'd be so much worse. It went on till 1985 or beyond. Nixon's still the president. Oh, what a nightmare.
That is on the past. Here in the present, we just need to face the future and focus on fixing the future together. Then, cut. I think that was a
Okay,
mistake.
decide which one to use,
That was a
right?
final take.
Okay.